Hey guys, it's DT. As you can see, I am back with another statue review. Today we are going to be taking a closer look at this custom Scarlet Witch. So most of you are familiar with Scarlet Witch from the MCU, but she actually made her first comic book appearance in the X-Men #4 way back in 1964. If you guys remember, not too long ago, I unboxed 4 different prototypes. This was one of them. I think it's one of the best Scarlet Witch statues available on the market today. Actually, it's not really available because this one is sold out, but you might be able to get it secondhand if you're lucky. So this statue offers something unique that we don't see in some of the license options, and we'll get into that in a bit, but let's go ahead and start off with the base. So this one features a circular museum style base. The base itself is about 3 3/4 inches tall, giving her a nice elevated surface to stand on. Up here in the front, we've got her cowl. Along the sides, we have sort of this mystic design with some nice texture underneath. As you can see on the very rear of the statue, we have this face sculpture of Vision. I guess it's sort of like an Easter egg since most people aren't going to see this, being that it's on the back of the base, but it's kind of cool that they put that there as a little nod to Vision. We have more of these mystic elements that have been engraved into the surface. The statue doesn't really show off her powers. However, having these mystic elements definitely helps tell the story and give you a little bit more background on the character. One of the cool things about this base is that it comes with an AC adapter. It just plugs in right here in the back, so no batteries are needed. And as you can see, we have a nice lighting effect. It lights up all those engraved areas on the surface, as well as on the backs of some of the blacks here on the sides. Gives everything a really nice glow. So just a little added bonus for me personally. Light up features aren't that important as I usually don't use them, but it's definitely nice to have, and having it on an AC adapter is much more convenient than having to deal with batteries. All right, so moving on to the Scarlet Witch herself, and as you can see, this is a very stunning piece, and most of that is due to this very dynamic cape. It's got a very nice flow to it. We've got the whole thing billowing out the back with the tips coming back around. She's actually holding 2 edges in her hands. We've got all the sculpted in folds, some very nice texture and shading as well. And it's got a very nice glossy sheen to it. Since we're talking about paint, I do want to mention that this is factory painted. So the same people that worked on this prototype will also be creating all the production pieces as well. So that's always a plus. Sometimes you get these prototypes and the paint job doesn't really match up to the finished product, but that's not the case here because the same factory that did the paint application for this very piece is doing all of them. So it's kind of like what you see is what you're gonna get. One of the unique things about this piece is her costume design. We've seen the XM Studios Scarlet Witch and the Sideshow Scarlet Witch both have more of that classic comic book design with kind of the all red, kind of pinkish look to it. But here we definitely have a more sultry look with the red corset style costume with the black leggings. I think the color combination just gives it a much more interesting feel. She's got these big knee-high boots. Her boots have a lot of these folds, giving it sort of a fabric type texture, but they too are a little bit glossy. It also has these kind of like knee coverings. The paint on that looks very nice as well, kind of like that new car paint. Very shiny, very metallic looking. And then we have these black leggings. Not quite as glossy, which gives a nice contrast to the more sleek finish of these boots and also her corset, and they do catch the light well. To match her boots, we have sort of these leathery sleeves on. They both connect to her finger via these rings, and her main corset looks fantastic. We've got some nice folds here on the sides where the fabric bunches up, and I really like this texture down the middle. We've also got some nice paint variation in those blacks and reds, kind of accentuating that bumpy texture. We got some intricate black designs down the sides. Part of the cape is attached to her hand, so that way when you attach the cape, it looks like it's going through her fingers. The fingers are sculpted nicely as well. We can see the fingernails and the fingernail polish on each one. Under these lights, I think her skin tone looks pretty good. When you put her next to some other statues, it may look a little bit reddish or pinkish, and I spoke to the commissioner about that, and he said not a problem. You know, if it's an issue, they can go back and kind of alter that color. This one also, if you guys look closely on her skin, just to add to the whole realism of the piece, they have all these little veins that you can see on her chest. Personally, I think it might be a little much. Definitely something I'm not used to seeing. It's a little bit distracting when you're up close to it. When you step back, it kind of blends in and just creates a more natural feel. That might be something they can tone down as well if people have issues with it. I can see it being a positive or negative thing depending on your preference. One of the things I like about this cape is that from this angle right here, the wind is kind of blowing it out of the way, so you get a clear shot of that left butt cheek. Not to be perverted or anything, but it just gives you a nice look at the sculpt back there. Sometimes you get these giant capes and you really can't see any of the detail on the backside. Not that you're gonna see it anyway if you have it facing forward, but it's nice to see. I mean, somebody took the time to sculpt that thing, so might as well be able to look at it, right? So finally, we are moving up to the portrait. I think it's a very nice portrait. It's kind of got this stoic look on her face. I think the intention was for this statue to look a little bit more sexy rather than a full-on action scene where we get these enraged portraits. She's got the dark red lipstick, nice sculpt in the features. It looks like she's got some detailed freckles. We can see some nice detailing in her eyebrows and eyelashes. So they definitely went for the more realistic feel with the skin tones in portrait. So it looks like the eyes on this one could use a little adjustment. One eye looks like it's looking off a little bit more to the side, which is a common issue I've noticed with a lot of statues. I'm guessing the eye application is a little bit more difficult than the rest of the body. But again, I'm sure this is something the commissioner can bring up to the factory and get it resolved prior to shipping out those production pieces. So she's got this very intricate hair, very large portrait when you consider the hair. You really get a sense of it when you look at it from the back. We've got hair flowing off both sides, down the middle, all these little strands kind of weaving in and out of each other, sort of like a bunch of snakes, or kind of like some pasta. This one actually was missing a little portion of the tip right here. It must have broke off in the factory because I couldn't find it anywhere in the box. That's always one of the drawbacks with having all this intricate, delicate hair. One thing I did notice is that the hair here on the left side, when looking at it from the side, looks a little bit flat. This side, as you can see, it comes out a little bit more to give it a little bit more dimension, whereas this side looks a little flattened, nothing too major, as you're probably gonna be looking at this thing from the front anyway. I'm guessing that was more of an engineering thing. I think having the hair stick out a little bit more in front definitely would have added to the fragility of the piece, maybe leading to more breakages. Just something I noticed. She's got the big red Scarlet Witch cowl there with the hair kind of flowing out of it above, as well as a little strand there in the front. Okay guys, so there you have it. That was a look at the custom Scarlet Witch. As I mentioned before, unfortunately, this one is already sold out. Even this prototype has been purchased, so after this video, I'm gonna be packing this thing back up and shipping it off to its new owner. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and stay tuned. I'll be featuring those other 3 prototypes that I previewed earlier on the channel, as well as showing you guys some other cool stuff that I just got in. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.